Hello, it's John Heaton, and this evening I'm going to review this classic album from Pink Floyd, released September 1975, and it's one of their very best albums, probably in my top three, along with Animals and the Wall, I think. Dark Side of the Moon being the other classic one. Those four, difficult to choose between them, depends what mood one's in. And I've got quite a few goodies to show you today. This is my original vinyl, and it did come in the black shrink wrap, but which I've kept. But it seems to have shrunk in size, and I don't actually know how it managed to be the shrink wrap. But I guess it used to encase the whole album. But anyway, so the album came in this black shrink wrap originally. And this classic cover with a couple of stuntmen here. I looked up their names, Ronnie Rondell and Danny Rogers. So this was a real life stunt. The guy wore a hood and a wig, but he really was on fire. And some nice pictures inside. The whole album is about the theme of absence, and it's been described by some critics as sad and certainly atmospheric. I'll come to the music in a bit. I'm just going to show you the packaging. So this is the sleeve, the record label. I actually only just realised that this is two hands, mechanical hands, shaking hands here. I just thought it was some kind of reference to Welcome to the Machine, the song at the time, but and the album comes with this postcard, the classic picture of the splashless diver, or looking like a stationary rock in there in the middle of the lake. Beautiful picture. Really don't know how they did it. I think hypnosis behind this whole album package, and it's beautiful. The music book I have here has some pretty nice outtakes in terms of pictures from the album cover sessions, such as the man in the desert. Well, yeah, here he is. So for the album sleeve, they got rid of the you can't see the wrists or the ankles. Again, another reflection of absence, I think it was meant to be. And this is the man swimming in the desert. Nice outtake there. We have a larger version of the diver here. And this book also has two very good interviews with Roger Waters and Dave Gilmour. And at this stage, although apparently they weren't getting on too well as a band, and they were a little bit at a loss as to how to follow up Dark Side of the Moon, in this interview it's quite refreshing to see Roger Waters talking quite nicely about the rest of the band and about the, what was behind the album. And there's not too much angst. I mean, there's always angst in a Roger Waters interview, but I think he's quite humorous in this one, and Gilmour as well. Nice interview. I think they all enjoyed the finished product. Maybe the sessions were a little difficult to begin with. Gilmour's on record saying it's his favourite Pink Floyd album, as is Rick Wright. I don't know what Nick Mason's favourite is. Roger Waters certainly thinks Dark Side of the Moon and the Wall are superior. He said that. So, okay, before I go through the music, I'm just going to show you a couple of CDs here. This is the Experience edition, which came out a few years ago, with a very nice expanded picture of the diver again, and very nicely packaged here, and a nice booklet here with pictures of the band. So as you can see, I've got quite a few versions. There's an alternative picture of the cover there. Got quite a few versions of this album, really, if I top them up. So there's that CD, and then as part of the Pink Floyd box set which I've got is this CD, which is also very nicely packaged, mimicking the original artwork precisely, and even down to the miniature postcard, which if you'll notice is different from the original album postcard. The diver is in a different position, which is kind of interesting. And then so that's nice. And then last but not least, the new 180 gram vinyl, which just came out 10 days ago. And I try not to repurchase my albums on vinyl if I can help it, but if an album is in my top 20 or 30, I find it hard to resist, especially an album with such superb packaging as this one. So let's get it out. Got to be careful here. And this one is good. You don't have to tear it to open it. You just neatly open the sealed flap there, and then you can see it's in beautiful mint condition. Compare it to my 30-year-old one. Wear and tear. Beautiful 180 gram vinyl. Same label. Really nice to have this. Haven't actually listened to the remaster yet. And then I'm just going to show you the postcard. And compare it to the others. Yeah, it's the same as the smaller one from the Pink Floyd CD box, but different from the original. So that's the packaging, and I'm pleased to say the music inside this album is every bit as good and memorable as the packaging. It opens with Shine On You Crazy Diamond, which has an absolutely brilliant guitar riff from Dave Gilmour, which was the starting point of the song. It's a very sad, melancholy line, and they just built the song around it, and starts off as an instrumental with very nice keyboard contributions from Rick Wright, and he also helped to write the music for this track, and Dave Gilmour as well. So lyrics are all Roger's as usual, but the music is shared between Rick Wright and Dave Gilmour. Here's some outtakes from the cover session, by the way. So Shine On You Crazy Diamond, brilliant lyrics about the late great Syd Barrett, who was the founding member of Pink Floyd, recorded their first album with them, and then basically a victim of the drug scene, and got a little bit too heavy into that scene, and was forced to leave the band because he was proving unreliable. Recorded 2 solo albums and then just disappeared. And they were recording this track in the studio in 1975, and this bald, overweight gentleman walked in with a plastic carrier bag, and none of them recognised who it was. They thought it was a staff member from EMI or something, and it turned out to be none other than Syd Barrett himself. And he came in, he listened to the tapes, said, "I'm willing to do my bit." It was Dave Gilmour's wedding day. There was a reception in the EMI canteen. He went to join them, and then disappeared without saying goodbye, and none of the band saw him until the day he died in 2006, I think it was. So a very sad story, and this song is apparently about him, although Roger said it's also about kind of the extremes people will go to deal with what he called the difficulties of life or something. You know, people literally have to shut themselves away to deal with the sadness of it all. So it's kind of got a more universal theme than just being specific to Syd Barrett, so that's probably what makes it quite timeless as well. Then that song is also reprised on the second half of side 2, with some nice instrumental passages, again with Rick Wright contributing quite a lot of that. So I think there's 9 parts in all to this song. And then sandwiched in between is 3 other songs. Welcome to the Machine is a rant at the record industry, Roger Waters. This is probably his first serious rant, although Dark Side of the Moon had a few negative lyrics on it, but this song is plainly aimed at the record industry, basically calling it a machine, and the next song, Have a Cigar, very similar lyrically. Even though they achieved monumental success with Dark Side of the Moon, I think the trappings of fame were getting a little bit tiresome, and maybe Roger was expressing that lyrically. I'm not sure if the rest of the band shared that sentiment. I think they all felt a little bit listless and directionless after Dark Side of the Moon. But Roger is writing great music and great lyrics, and Have a Cigar. Funnily enough, he struggled to sing this song, and then he got Roy Harper to sing it. Dave Gilmour apparently declined. He was offered to sing it, and Roy Harper sings it. He happened to be in the studio at Abbey Road at the same time, and he does a decent job, although Roger Waters later regretted it and said he should have sung it. So, Wish You Were Here, the title track, just sublime. Dave Gilmour's singing the lead, and it's a brilliant song co-written by Roger and Dave. They performed this on the Live Aid concert in 2008, which was the one and only time the band reunited before Rick Wright passed away the following year. Wish You Were Here, timeless lyrics. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain. Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail? A smile from a veil, do you think you can tell? Absolute classic Pink Floyd song. And then the album finishes off with a reprise of Shine On the Crazy Diamond. So this is a 10 out of 10 album, easily. Wasn't received too well at the time by the critics. They kind of said it was a bit of a letdown. I don't know how they could have the audacity to say that, because looking back on it, I think people now regard it as an all-time classic, and it was obviously a huge #1 album in the UK and the US, and is very fondly remembered by the fans and by critics these days. Just hard to believe that it was even one negative word was written about it. But I wasn't around at the time, but that's what I read. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and see you next time.